Hi guys, this is Thunder E from Board Thank you for joining me. I'm back in Boston. I was in New York yesterday, and we are talking CW Flash, the Flash. Yes, the trailer hit earlier today. There was a 1 minute teaser, and then there was a 5 minute trailer. So we're going to be talking about the 5 minute trailer now. Please chime in. The Q&A is open. Also, we'll be checking out the video on the YouTube page, so you can also leave your comments and questions there. So we're going to talk about this trailer right now. This is The Flash. Now, just to give you a quick synopsis, what we're going to do is we're going to talk, just basically give you a description. We'll run through the trailer, and I'll actually share my screen so you can actually watch the trailer. And then we'll talk about what we think about the show. So maybe 15 minutes or so. But The Flash is a TV show. It's coming to CW, and the Flash basically was showcased this current season of the Arrow, where we saw Barry Allen show up and actually get his powers, or at least the making of his powers is on Arrow. And Barry Allen, starred by Grant Gustin. He stars as a Flash, and then the other showrunner is going to be added to this. But from all in points and purposes, he's had this story where his parents were killed, and there's a reason why he wants to do good and justice and all that fun stuff. So, enough of that talk. Let's take a look at the trailer here. So I have the trailer up on my screen. I'm actually going to share my screen, and then we'll talk through the trailer and give you some points there to see what we have. So share screen. Let's see, full screen. Yeah. There we go. All right, my screen should be shared. Yes, it is. So I'm going to play the trailer. So starting off right here, I'm going to talk through this breakdown here. You see, this is a view of the city itself. I believe this is, it's Keystone City, which of course would be Flash. And you can see it pans through, and then he's see somebody beating him up, and that's a young Barry Allen. See a photo of his family, his dad, and this is so cool. This is the guy who played the original Flash in the original TV show. I can't remember his name, but that is him right there. I think it looks like him. I just actually saw it in the freeze frame, so we'll see as we go along in the series. I know he's being cast in the series, so I think he's his dad. And then and that's his mom. He's talking to his mom right here, and then it cuts through. Now he's talking about the night his mom was murdered, and you see Barry Allen gets up. So he says what looked like a ball of lightning. That's a guy running real fast like Flash, wearing yellow and red, mostly yellow and red, which would be, I'm thinking, is Dr. Zoom, reverse Flash. I'm thinking it's a reverse Flash right here, because you can see someone that looks like him. And he talks about, he killing his mom, Reverse Flash, or whoever this person is. And his dad is there. The next minute, he's on the middle of the road, yelling out CW logo, pans the city, and we see a grown-up Barry Allen bumping into people. That's the detective, showrunner from Law and Order. I can't remember his name, but it's a great actor. So that's a good addition to the show right there. Now he's talking about how people think she's weird. Other officers don't really, they don't take him seriously, And then that's a female friend talking about how he should get himself a girlfriend. We all know who he likes on Arrow. And then this is the creation of the Flash, which we saw in Arrow this season. Talking about how he would become the impossible. There's an explosion in the Star Labs. Particle accelerator basically explodes, chemicals lift up in the air, and then lightning strikes at the same time. And we have the making of the Flash. So now he's taken to the hospital. They're not sure what's going on with him. He wakes up. Now he's at Star Labs, which is pretty cool. They introduced Star Labs into the show. Now we know this show is running concurrently at the same time with Arrow, so we'll see a lot of seepage left and right between both of them. But also, it also means Star Labs is part of the DC universe. Now we don't know how these will connect to the movies, but it's cool that it's there anyway. He was struck by lightning. Talking about how lightning gave him abs. He was in a coma for 9 months. And there's this professor dude who is on the wheelchair and is very excited to see him come back. Don't know who he is because I didn't hear his name throughout the trailer. Panera City. His friend's happy to see him come back again. Talking about how his heartbeat is fast and how he sees things in slow motion, really. Now there's lots. I mean, there's a lot of special effects in this show. A lot of running, so you can expect that. And then we see a lot of that, and him just trying to run. He's talking about how he heals pretty fast because Flash pretty much has one of the best healing factors. And his first suit attempt. Oof, looks pretty rough. Now testing his speed. And he's about to break the speed of sound. There we go. Sonic boom. Now, it's interesting here. He talks about searching for other metahumans. Now, in the DC universe, they don't use the word mutants. They use metahumans. So it's also interesting to see that they bring a lot of that lingo in here. And it's telling him that you're searching for other metahumans that, you should know that you're one of them. And the show guy, this is basically probably the first villain he fights. He controls the weather or atmosphere. So we're seeing basically a DC world between Arrow and Flash, or the Flash, that they are metahumans, people with superpowers. So this story brings that in there, and I'm not sure how the connection of Superman brings it to play. Now he's asking the question, what happened to him that night, and he's told that basically the accident ripped a hole, in the fabric of the universe, releasing unknown energy, which has created all these people. So it's kind of like how Smallville had kryptonite. It just calls it crypto villains, but at least this is better, where it's not linked to kryptonite, which is good. So it's talking about antimatter, dark energy, stuff like that, which to me means apocalypse in my mind. But I mean, sorry, dark side, not just apocalypse, but dark side, in my mind.
Those are all theoretical. How theoretical are you?
We see him run. See, now that's a pretty cool scene here. You can tell he hasn't honed his powers here, where he runs. He's trying to break. Slide right there. The weather guy again. More scenes, quick action scenes. He runs, chases the guy, gets into his car. It's pretty cool. Now, I think in the show we're going to see him try and learn how to use his powers a lot. I mean, for the very first season. So we're going to see that play. And so you can see from the creators of Arrow, you can see he's going to have a team of people from Star Labs who helps him, especially with his costume and how to use his powers. He's talking about how he needs their help. And this guy says, I have something happening. And that's the Flash suit. So now, what's interesting, if you look back here in the trailer, and I'm just going to play. Stop. You can see the actual, or at least one of the, basically their models for Flash, and what's behind him, what's behind Grant there is what looks more like a real Flash suit itself, but we end up with, of course, with this TV version, which is like double polymers and all that fun stuff, so it keeps you from ripping. And here he's talking to Arrow, or Green Arrow, and he's asking him, he's like, what if I'm not a hero, or what if I'm not meant to do this?
I don't think that bolt of lightning struck you.
And he tells him the bolt of lightning didn't strike him by accident. They actually chose him because he can inspire people, and God, you see, like guardian angel, make a difference. saving people in a flash. Basically, Arrow helped him get his name. That's how to put it that way. So he takes his name from the Arrow. And we see in the first villain he fights, I think really pretty much the first guy he's going to deal with. And we're going to see him lose his powers in many different ways. You can see how he run. He caught that in the air. It's coming this fall. Red Streak saves family legend. Talking about running around in opposite direction. Flash can run faster than that. We all know that. Tell him to run. Screen a vortex to stop the tornado, which will actually kill the wind. As action breaks through. See the aftermath here. And then it pretty much ends with a monologue, similar to what he had in Arrow, where he's talking about who he is, how a friend helped him give him ideas for his new name, and how to protect the city as the Flash. And then Green Arrow tells him to take his own advice and he should wear a mask, and he jumps off and swings off on CW this fall. All right, so there you have it, guys. That is the full trailer. I've gone around and I have spoken way too much describing that altogether. Let's go into Q&A, see if any questions there for anyone. But that is the Flash from CW. So in terms of what do I think about the trailer, it looked awesome. It was great. I loved the tone that they brought to it. I also love the fact that it was interesting. In every respect. We have a comment here from Zane Smiley says the trailer was awesome. It looks like a different tone compared to Arrow. I look forward to their crossover. By the way, the guy who was the first Flash is named John Wesley Shipp. Thank you very much, Zane. Yes, John Wesley Shipp, I think, is his dad in this show. Now, as I mentioned, there are a couple of things that are pretty cool that they mentioned there. They talked about metahumans, and that's what they called in the DC universe. So you're going to see more metahumans, and most likely the first set of metahumans are from the fallout from the accident from Star Labs. So people aren't going to be necessarily freaked out compared to, say, when Superman shows up. So I'm not sure what timeline that will be. The shows are connected with the movie universe, not in terms of lineage, but they said there might be some connection. I'm not sure it's direct. Now, we don't see his classic costume, but what we do get is we do get that peak to his classic costume. We get what we have right now. It may be upgraded in the future in the series. I don't know, but it'll be cool. Hopefully, we see that in there. And just talking about his costume, I just wanted to show you some images of his costume. I'm just going to share my screen here quickly so you guys can see that and get a better look. Because I know you saw it, on the through the trailer. So here's his costume. And change to now. This is how it looks fully. Now you can see it's not body fitting, which is a bit bummed out. But I do still like the look. I don't like the color patches overall, but hey, it's still cool. And of course, that's another look of him, and that's him about to get set. And of course, that's the logo of the Flash. But overall, I think the costume does work for a live TV show. Elseworld Cinema says, who do you think will be the next superhero after the Flash for a TV show? Next superhero after the Flash for a TV show or movie? If you're talking about TV shows, I think it'll be somebody in that tier level, kind of like the Flash, where you can have a lower tier character. For DC, I don't know offhand. I would have said Cyborg, but maybe Static Shock. Static Shock was a really cool character, and still a really cool character that I think would work well as a TV show because he doesn't necessarily fly. He floats off a metal board, and he uses electricity. So Static Shock can be another character. For a movie, just make a Wonder Woman movie, please, people. It's about time. Seriously, Wonder Woman is a cool character. But back to the Flash. The other aspect of the trailer I liked is also they showed metahumans. They showed one. And we know that's probably the first guy he's going to deal with, so that's fine. But they showed one, and they showed how he was going to try and deal with it, and it's a learning process. And they showed the connection with Arrow. That was the cool part. That they should look. We have these two shows. They're going to come together. and we can build off that. They will, if this show does very well, just like Arrow is doing, I guarantee there'll be a third superhero in there. I don't know who. What I would love to see, even though I mentioned Static Shock, I would love to see Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. That would be a epic TV show because those characters are hilarious. Dialogue is great, but if you ever read a Booster Gold Blue Beetle cartoon, definitely check it out. A comic book, sorry. Go read it. Awesome stuff. Let's see here. We have another question here. Do you think there will be any other characters in the Flash? Adita, Adita Nadayu. Sorry, I mispronounced that. I apologize. But they might be. I don't think they will be, though, for most part of the first season. We will see some crossover from Arrow, most likely. So that's what we will see. We will see villains. We know that Captain Boomerang is going to show up, and Captain Cold, I think, is also going to be there. So we'll see if those villains show up. But in terms of other superheroes, I don't think so because DC is very careful in putting out their superhero properties now altogether. If it's not going to be in the Justice League, then we might see someone. But I can't think of anyone other than say Booster Gold or Blue Beetle in my mind, or like I said, Static Shock there. As far as the trailer goes, it was awesome. Built a very good hype. Even the teaser trailer, if you saw the teaser trailer, it was when Arrow was basically, he walked up to a target that was probably about maybe 200-300 feet away, and he's about to shoot his arrow. The floor is vibrating, fires it, and then the Flash runs up and catches the arrow and goes, whoa! And Arrow goes show off, So, but it's pretty cool because I would love to see both of them in the Justice League because I think they will work well together and bring some more comedic side. And and Grant Justin might be able to bring that comedic side of the Flash. It's sad. I mean, so far WB says they will not be mixing those two universes. They should just do it. Do it and be done with it. Make it look like those guys that jump into a bigger world, like, whoa, 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 this is the big leagues. And, we have our little things in our cities that we like to deal with. Show that aspect of it. Elseworld Cinema says, the Flash in the Justice League was known as a funny guy. Do you think that they're going to put more humor in the Justice League into the humor from the Justice League into the show? I believe so. I mean, like, from what I saw in the trailer, he looked jovial. It might not be necessarily funny, but he looked jovial enough. Now, for a movie, I don't know if they're going to use the same guy, just because, unless, of course, the writing is witty enough where he can actually crack the jokes. But he looked funny enough. He looked like jovial. I think if he shows a lot of that kid spirit in there, it would be great. Like, where he's doing, it's like the Flash meets Superman for the first time. It's like, dude, whoa, I'm excited, da da da. Shows that hyper excitement. As also even Batman too is like all scared and like still very excited there. And another question here: do you think the Flash will get any weapons? No. I don't think so, and I don't think he needs that. I can't remember. I don't even remember if the Flash had any weapons in the comic books ever. But what I want to see is the Flash show the Flash use his powers in different ways. So the Flash runs very fast, but he also is fast naturally. Now a lot of people think the Flash is one of those superheroes that all he can do is run. The Flash is one of the most awesome superheroes DC universe and anywhere. Like people compare him to Quicksilver. No, I'm sorry, Quicksilver. Nah. Quicksilver is minor leagues. Flash is a big boy. Basically, he can run very fast. He can also vibrate through molecules. He can transfer his speed to other materials and other people. So, there's one pretty cool scene that in a comic book. I can't remember, a Justice League comic book. Somebody fired a couple of missiles, 3 missiles, I think, to 3 different places, and Superman took out one. Wonder Woman took another. Superman was trying to fly over to catch the other one, and he couldn't make it in time. Flash ran into the city, and he saved everyone in the city. Now, mind you, to go that fast, pick up everyone, and bring him out of the city at the same time, he was vibrating after he did that because his molecules were moving so fast. So it's that kind of thing I want to see with the Flash because he has got hyper speed. He can manipulate molecules. He can actually phase through objects because if he can vibrate fast enough, he can actually go on a microscopic level through molecules. So that's the kind of stuff I want his Flash to see, and also use some of his brains a little bit. I mean, he is a forensic scientist. He's not a technical genius, but some brains in there and a lot of humor, I think, will go a long way in making the Flash an awesome show to watch altogether. So I think that'll be cool altogether. Let's see if we have any more questions or comments before we round this up. We have William Joe. August seemed really worried about Slade soldiers at the end of Arrow because of the super strength. I expect a presence of them in the show. Thank you very much. I actually have not seen the season finale of Arrow, but good to know. But yeah, that might show up in the Flash. I definitely agree. Those kind of crossovers would be there. And you know, one of the cool things also is that now that in Arrow and also in this TV DC universe, Raj Al Ghul is the top villain. Even though he's not been mentioned, the remnants or all the basically the aspects of Raj Al Ghul are showing up in the show. Now we know Slade Wilson is a different character in tune away from what he is in the comic book to some degree, but Raj Al Ghul's influence in some levels, I think he's the highest villain on the TV element. So we might see some of that influences thrown in there, but it all depends on what they want to do. Now, Gamers Gone Crazy 03 says, what other superhero movies or series do you think that we made for the DC universe? So if you've not heard Gamer Gone Crazy 03, DC says they have a total of 11 properties, and actually 9 we haven't heard of. Now, of course, the first 2 are Superman versus Batman, then there's Justice League, and then we also heard that there will be a Shazam movie, a Metal Man movie, and 100 Bullets, and then Fables. Now, it's interesting because the only one that most people probably know about is the Shazam movie. So Shazam is a character most people know. Metal Man to large degree, 100 Bullets, not much. It's kind of cool that they separate away from just core comic characters because you need to kind of spread the world. And 100 Bullets is kind of in the vein of Red, where it's comic book based, but it's not necessarily a superhero movie. Now, in terms of superheroes, they need to make a Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman is prime. Women have been waiting for a good action hero. You know, that they can really go, yes, not just one that they like because he has good muscles, he looks good like Henry Cavill or Thor, but one they can go, yeah, that girl kicks ass. So, you know, Wonder Woman is one that they definitely need to do in there. I think in terms of other DC characters, you want to go do a Green Lantern again, because Green Lantern, I think, is a character that really to me, it's like a Bond movie. You can swap out Green Lanterns anytime you want because it's a core, right? You can do any story you want in the Green Lantern, but I think that's one that also needs to be done again. I also think that if you wanted to expand the characters, you could go to a few lesser characters, but I just can't think of any right now off my head other than the big 3 themselves. But there'll probably be another Batman movie in there too. I'm probably thinking. So that's what I think there. Now we have Bender Rodriguez who says, do you think we will see crime procedure spin on the show since Barry works for the police? Yeah, I do. I mean, they did cast a well-seasoned actor to be the lieutenant, the guy from Law and Order. I can't remember his name, and it looks like, and they're going to show his workings in the police force. And again, it's kind of sure that even from Arrow that he ditched work just to go to see if he can actually solve that crime with Arrow. So I think we'll see some of that play in. That'll be really cool because you can also ground the show without spending too much time doing a lot of special effects of Flash running around. Then we have another one from Elseworld Cinema. Is it possible that a Teen Titans movie, TV show will show up? That is possible, I mean, that's a good one. I'm not sure if it will. I'm not sure how they're keen on making, super super kids run around. Now, the problem with Teen Titans is that it's still, to me, I think, is that one key member is actually Robin. Now, I don't know if there's a good Robin in this new universe. Now, if it's a TV show, they might do a Robin, but then how do you connect that to Batman? Because Batman is on the big screen, and he's not on a TV show, and it's only TV shows got him. So you have this kind of limitations there. But it's possible they might swap out a member and not have them, might have Nightwing instead. So it'll be interesting to see that. And then Gamers Gone Crazy 03 says, do you think that the DC series will stay true to the comic storyline or they'll change a lot? I think they'll take liberties, just like Arrow has taken liberties, especially how Arrow got his training and all that stuff all together, and even introducing Raj Al Ghul's element into it, with the League of Shadows and all that. But I think what it is they've if they do it the same way as Arrow, they will pick and choose, but they'll stay consistent to the character in a sense. So you still know that, you know what, this is who Flash is. And one of the key things about Flash is you know, where he works, how he got his powers. You know, I mean, that was one of the key things. They actually got that to the T. And also his demeanor. Flash is a jovial guy. You know, he's lighthearted. You know, he has issues he's dealing with, but he's lighthearted. And I think, you know, once they nail that in there, I think the show will most likely be a success. But from all indications, I like that. I like that trailer, and I like how it looks. Man, it looks pretty good. And then Zane Smiling says, have I seen the Constantine trailer? Do you think it would be possible to cross over Arrow, Flash, Grant, and Constantine is in NBC? I think, yeah, Constantine's on NBC. I don't think Constantine is going to cross over. I think because it's that spiritual world, it's kind of cool that it is separated. It just will make things a little bit murky for audiences to actually go, so how is this guy here? He deals with spirits, and then this other guy dealing with you know, supervillains, and this guy dealing with crime bosses. It's almost like three different layers. You have Arrow with regular villains, or at least to a certain degree, and then you have Flash with super villains, and then you have Constantine with spiritual villains. So it's a cross that you really don't want to have at all happening on a crossover show. Something like Arrow and what do you call it again? And the Flash basically can work well because they're levels to where the supervillains actually cross over. So I think those will work. So yeah, that's it, guys. I liked the trailer. I think it was awesome. I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up. I can't wait to see it. It's good to see more DC shows and more DC properties. I want to see what Marvel does with their Marvel series on Netflix. So it's cool to see this, you know, bring it on the smaller screen and get it to work properly. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions or any comments about this trailer, please leave it down in the comments below. Thank you everyone for chiming in the Q&A. Appreciate it. And also with this video, so leave your comments there. And also, guys, please like this video, share this video, and favorite this video, and do subscribe to Board at Work. We appreciate everyone subscribing. Top right hand corner of your screen or in the description below. We love you guys, so thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much for listening and watching. And this is Thunder E saying thank you again, and always enjoy your entertainment.